Rocky 4. It's Rocky 4 time. We're going to be speaking about Rocky 4.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Say Rocky 4 again.
Rocky 4.
There we go. This is a re-release. No, let me rephrase that. A re-edit of the film from Sylvester Stallone himself.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, Sylvester. Come on. Treating us. For the past year of a lockdown, Sylvester Stallone has been editing Rocky 4, which was provided to him by MGM Studios. And he's been working on this for about a year, very passionate about the project, and we were lucky enough to see it in the cinema on Saturday night, as well as a very small Q&A with Sylvester Stallone himself, talking about the process of this film, his history with Rocky, where it's going to go from there. And yeah, the whole experience was really nice. This was my first time seeing a Rocky film.
I'm very, very intrigued to find out how you experienced Rocky 4 for the first time.
As someone who has only ever seen Creed and Creed 2, those have been the only Rocky films I've seen. I've never seen Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Balboa.
There we go.
Haven't seen them, right? So I knew what to expect. I knew it was going to be cheesy. I knew it was going to be campy. You hype this film up all the time to me.
It's one of my absolute favourite films.
You hype this up to me all the time. And so I was expecting montages. I was expecting epic fights. I was expecting great music, and I got all that.
Yes.
My main takeaways from this film is incredibly cheesy and campy. The way that everybody speaks is so heroic, and everybody has to have at least one awesome line.
Yeah.
Ivan Drago in it is just this big, hulking, bulky Russian guy. I love some of his lines. I love the "if he dies, he dies."
It's brilliant.
It's so cool.
Classic.
It's so cool but cheesy.
My
I love
absolute
it.
favourite line from this film is Apollo Creed when they're doing the press junket for the first fight, and Apollo Creed just comes out and says, "Well, you know, some people gotta learn the hard way." I'm like, oh, it's beautiful. It is absolutely incredible.
This film is chock full of quotable lines and just ridiculously funny scenes. So the re-edited version removes a lot from the original film. We'll get into that later. I'll allow you to take that home. The hold on that. But the main thing that really struck me in this film, it's short, but oh my god, it flies by.
Yeah.
Completely whizzed by me. I remember they're getting into the fight against Rocky and Drago, and I literally turned to you and was like, "Yo, is this the last fight?" And you went, "Yeah, this is the final fight." I went, "What?" I was expecting there to be way more. But it just whizzes by, doesn't waste any time. Everybody's so wet.
Yeah.
Everyone is so wet in this film.
The sweat is dripping off of brows.
I swear the humidity in that ring, just that ring, that single box ring, the humidity in there must be killer, because they take one step in there and they are drenched in sweat. They've not done a thing. They've jumped about a few times and they're absolutely dripping because they need that water going poof whenever the punches hit.
Oh, but it's so good when
you see it. It is so good. In slow-mo, it's awesome. All the fights are really cool. The fight against Drago and Creed it hits you out of nowhere, because before this final fight, they have this whole big showy kind of thing, and Carl Weathers is in this America outfit with a hat, and they're in Vegas and living in America, is playing with James Brown, and James Brown is giving it his all and singing and stuff, and it's so fun. You're like, this is just the cheesiest thing ever.
It's exactly what Apollo Creed character is doing in that time. It's showmanship to its absolute best.
It's crazy. And then he gets in the ring, and then Drago just goes doosh, and he dies. And you're like, what? Oh, what's going on?
And this is very early into the movie.
Very early into the film. Carl Weathers gets one or two scenes, and then he's dead. And you're like, oh my god. And then suddenly Rocky's manically driving home while listening, "There's no easy way out."
That is a beautiful scene.
It's a gorgeous scene to see him just furiously driving while this is playing. And then he goes to Russia, gets put in a little snow hut, and he's like, "I gotta train." And then goes and has an epic training montage, climbs up a mountain, does the whole thing. And then they're like, "Right, fight time." And then he goes and he goes and fights.
It's never stopping.
Waste no time at all. Everything is just here chock full.
This, honestly, I think this is the blueprint to what people said that Venom 2 was. People complimented Venom 2 by the idea of them saying, "Oh well, it might be cheesy, it might be a heap of rubbish, but at least it's 90 minutes and it goes by at a clip." But no, Venom 2 goes
dragged.
by a clip, fair enough, because it's only 90 minutes long. But it is so boring and just not funny at all.
Mm-hmm.
Rocky 4 takes its runtime and is like, right, okay, we'll give you a little bit of setup, and then we will waste no time at all in giving you just overload for the senses. If it's not a music montage, then it is a fight scene, and if it's not a fight scene, then it is him absolutely just training, just
like a madman.
Exactly,
like
it is insanity what he does in this film.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I love it. There's a moment. It's between, actually the training montage song that we played before. At the end of our first hour, between that and the it's Hearts on Fire montage,
which is going to be played very soon.
There is one singular scene where Rocky meets up with Adrian, and it lasts for maybe about a minute at most, and that is your break between montage and montage. And I'm like, you know exactly what you're doing here. There's
no time at all. Right, so because this film is a recut of the original 1985 release, a lot's been done to change it.
Yes.
I want you to take the helm on this. Okay. As someone who's seen the original and has seen the recut, I want you to just give it your all. Please explain.
Well, okay, so for me, I'll start this off by saying, for me, I think that I may prefer the original even though the original has a lot of cheesy and, like, at this moment in time, absolutely rubbish qualities. The robot, which Sylvester Stallone will consistently reference every time he talks about Rocky 4.
Yeah.
The robot in Rocky 4, I do not know what was happening, what they were thinking, but there is an undeniable quality to the cheesiness, to the rubbishness that is included in Rocky 4 that makes it so just joyous to watch. I love the robot. It's rubbish, but I absolutely love the robot in this. And so for that reason, I think that I prefer the original cut. However, that is not to say that this director's cut is not worth it, because there are certain things in here that I think are absolutely definitive. And honestly, I would love to see some of the qualities that have been improved within this film just inserted maybe into the Rocky 4 original cut. I think that would be the actual ultimate director's cut, in my opinion. But for instance, there's more scenes with Apollo Creed in this film. It fleshes out his why he wants to fight Ivan Drago. It's in the original, you know it, but it runs by a clip, and within this cut, it is more apparent that he's like, well, he feels like he's been a has-been, that he feels like he's born to fight. This is his moment. He needs to do it because he knows nothing else. It's so strong in this cut, I feel. And even there's more to Apollo's funeral. There's a lot more to Apollo's funeral, in fact. And I think I am very, very shocked that any of that was cut back in the day. Because Apollo's funeral in this film, I do think that it is a definitive moment now in the Rocky franchise. This is along with, like, Mickey's funeral and all that kind of stuff. That's how impactful this is. But more so than not, there's tiny little edits that you would never really notice as a showy thing. But the sound design in this is completely overhauled. Punches actually make an impact now. They feel like it's trains hitting these people. The actual punches feel destructive. And that is something that Rocky 4 was kind of missing back in the day. Rocky 4 was fun. It was never meant to be, like, dark. But now, the fight with Apollo Creed, the fight with, like, Rocky, they're actually murdering each other in the ring. And you hear it. That, and along with the No Easy Way Out sequence, the montage, Sylvester Stallone has decided to make all of the flashback scenes now in black and white. And that may be you're like, oh, yeah, of course he did. That is easy. You can do that in old Windows Movie Maker. That's nothing. But for some reason, while watching it, I was like, that's a way better use of the flashbacks in that sequence. I adored that change in that sequence. And with that, there, like I said, there's certain things in this cut which I definitely think need to be seen if you're a Rocky fan. If you love Rocky 4, then it might not be as enjoyable or as brilliant as the original, because you will always have that memory of like, well, I know everything that happens in this film, and I now miss the robot. But at least you're seeing things, sequences, which are very reminiscent to Rocky 1, 2, and 3. This now actually feels like a continuation of the Rocky trilogy.
Yeah.
Which Rocky 4 never really felt like. It was always that little bit different. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in this cut. As you said, a lot of things are taken out, most notably Burt Young as Paulie is near enough completely cut out of this film, which is unfortunate, as well as Brigitte Nielsen as one of Ivan Drago's managers. And I don't know why she's completely cut out of the film, but she's basically completely cut out of the film. So there are those edits which I'm not happy with. But for the most part, I think this is a very necessary experiment and experience if you're a Rocky fan.
Fascinating stuff there, Ryan. Thank you very much for that. I thought it was cool to see them punch people.
Yes. I know, exactly. I went too in depth for a film like Rocky 4 of all that. If you like Rocky 4, then you're gonna love this film. That's as easy as that.
Simple as.
Yeah, and it's showing again. I believe it's showing down at Cineworld, Union Square. I know for definite. I don't know about the beach, but have a check. But it's showing on Thursday night.
Lovely.
So if you missed it at View, then definitely go see it if you want to see it.
There you go. You're set in. You're set.